it. I think we're live, and I think we're on the right place and channel right now. Welcome to Crazy Town. No, just kidding. We have had so many technical difficulties. Thank you if you made it over. I see some people did make it over in the chat, and I love it. Thank you so much. So, in the video today, we are going to be talking about the second half of 2025. Last week, we were talking about the astrology for January 2025 and the first half of 2025. We have so much wonderful and maybe not so wonderful, but transformative energies. That's a great word to use. That will be going on this year that we decided to make it into 2 parts. So here we are after a bunch of technical issues today between when I got my shit straight, then Mark had moments, and then, yeah, we just flip-flopped a little bit there. So how are you doing, Mark? I mean, aside from all the craziness.
We are
You're that good. Yeah, no, honestly, I mean, it's the outer planets really, because we're both in all of that, and our perception of what's going on in the world is maybe different than others. Do you think because of that?
Oh, there's no doubt we're on a different reality than everyone else, I think, at this point.
Yeah,
point,
I think
really.
Right. I mean, we are the Fishies and the Aquarius. Of course, we're going to be a little bit strange or odd. But I hope that people made it from the last video, because I saw we had a bunch of people waiting. But I'm excited because Mark and I are going to do a few new things. I just want to make a couple little mentions here before we get started. But Mark and I are going to start doing a few new things this year, so be on the lookout. Follow us, of course. We're still working on Mark's website, but the URL to Mark's website is rabbitholeastrology.net. So it's not fully up yet, but you can go there or save that link. It is in the description box. You can also go to my website, of course, starlenebreiter.com, or if you're interested in learning astrology, I'm teaching astrology. I start Saturday, so it might be a little quick for you to jump in the class, but I do have 1 or 2 spots left. So if you're interested, check it out. You can go to Sirius, spelled like the star, SIRIUS, astrologyschool.com. And we're going to be doing other things throughout the year that will be involving astrology and just different things. So definitely follow us on social media, which will be also in the description box, the links to follow us there. And if you are interested in a consultation, Mark does wonderful consultations. He uses a lot of evolutionary astrology-based astrology. I'm a vibrational astrologer, so hit us up, let us know, message us or whatever, and we'll be happy to work with you. So I'm excited about this coming second part of the year, because the first part of the year was pretty chaotic, right? So what are you feeling like, just your first thing for the second part of the year? Like, what's your overall? And we're starting in July, correct?
Yes. So this planet's not working today.
I love what Adriana said. Her dog is an Aquarius. That's awesome. I didn't even know you could do that. So there's so many different features on this platform that I was obviously not really working very well this morning.
Yeah, it's been a challenge today, we'll say.
We'll get there. I'm excited though to talk about July. Like, that's where we're starting. Where would you like to dig in first, or what is the highlight? I would say it that way.
I have so many tabs open on my computer here. Okay, so I'm gonna.
This is the story of my life. I have so many tabs open in my brain. I don't know where the music is coming from.
Yes.
Please turn the music off, and then I realize it's my phone and not even my computer.
Okay, here we go.
There we go. We got it.
Painful.
It is painful. And I just, of course, closed the information. Okay, so whatever. It's a fun live stream where we're both figuring it out.
So So,
Tell us.
okay, so the big thing that we finished off, like the second half of June, we had the Jupiter Saturn square, and then the Mars Uranus square, and both of those were on June 15th. And then Mars entered Virgo on June 17th, and then June 18th was the Jupiter Neptune square. So that was
Mhm.
coming out of like high chaos um, for the second half of June.
Right.
So then the
Okay. Well, let
so
me
then
let
the
you finish
first
your thought before I interrupt you, because I have a thought about that. But go on.
so then the big thing is the first was actually the first half of July, because on July 4th, Venus is going to enter Gemini, and Neptune, which had recently entered Aries, is going to station retrograde. And those are both on July 4th. And then on
Happy
July
birthday, USA.
Yeah. And then on July 7th, Uranus is going to enter Gemini. And then July
Yeah.
10th, we have a full moon. And then July 13th, Saturn stations retrograde. So that's all the first that's the first 2 weeks of July. Actually, it's not it's like yeah, that's the first 2 weeks of July. Um,
Well, in the summer times, at least it has been in the more recent years that we have been the retrograde start in the summertime, right? And then sometimes in the winter, at least northern hemisphere, they're all direct, right? Not always, but that does happen. The patterns of the cycles, at least the outer planets, I think.
yeah, I think it scooches back a little bit every year, because I know a few years ago, like we were having like Uranus stations like on Christmas or close to Christmas, and now they're into January. So
Right. I'm probably thinking like 10 years ago when that happened, and I have no conception of time. That's more probably the situation with that. Okay. So the first 2 weeks in July, we have intensity. We have Neptune station retrograde. Uranus enters
right.
Gemini and Venus enters Gemini too. I mean, this is going to be actually a highlight for Gemini, because is Jupiter still in Gemini at that point? I think it is.
No, Jupiter enters Cancer on June 9th.
Oh, got it. Are you
So this
is your dog eating?
uh, no, she's scratching at the carpet. I think she's trying to make a comfortable place to lay down.
She would like to she would like a nest.
She scratches at the carpet for some reason.
She's like, I want to see Auntie Starlene, because her name is, she's my nickname, my namesake, Stella. It's okay. Stella's a sweetie. Stella, will later have your nest and enjoy yourself. So, okay, with all of this stuff going on in the beginning of July, how are you feeling? I mean, I think you're feeling well collectively how we're feeling. Or did you want to finish through what was going on in July before we go to there?
So I think another part of this is that Mars has entered Virgo at the end of June. So the Neptune station is going to be a great lack of energy, and Venus and Uranus entering Gemini is going to be
like an uptick of the energy, right?
A big boost in energy.
Right.
So
that's what I was thinking. Then we have the full moon in Capricorn to like straighten everybody around, because the Capricorn moon is like kind of smacks you around a little bit, like makes you figure things out. Don't you think? No. Tries to ground you?
Yes.
Maybe I'm completely wrong. Okay, yeah. Well, that's good. And then the Saturn station retrograde on the 13th of July is what? What are you feeling with all of this kind of chaotic stuff going on, and then you turn around and you get the Saturnian stuff here?
Right. So there's a lot of conflicting energies because at that point too, like Venus and Mars are going to get close, or Venus and Uranus will both, at least by sign, be square to Mars. So we get that the even though Gemini and Virgo are ruled by the same, are both ruled by Mercury, they do have some differences in how they operate.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, so
Wow.
I think I don't want to say Virgo um, causes crisis, but Virgo is very good at picking out where there's flaws in things. So sometimes when there's a planet like especially Virgo or Mars in Virgo, it tends to easily pick out all the flaws and everything. So it kind of it makes things feel chaotic, but it's just trying to help, but it makes things feel chaotic because it's noticing all the flaws and issues with things.
I see. Someone in the chat said speak up. So can you? I don't know if are you using this mic on your thing. Speak into it.
I
No, I don't think you're using that mic. I would hear like sounds.
this should be. Is that better?
I don't think that's the mic
louder?
you're using. No, it didn't change. Well, the problem is Triple. I see what you're saying, but the problem is his other computer took a crap on us this morning, so that's where part of our chaos came from. He's working on getting that back, but he's using an older computer because of that. We were like, let's just try it anyway. But if he's too quiet, is your other computer back working?
It appears to be have made some corrections. Let's see if.
Yeah, I have one of the boom mics. Those are kind of nice, but then if you touch it, it makes the loudest crazy noise too. So I try. I think I got probably not the best one.
So why don't you kick me out of here real quick?
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. Oh, hold on. Let me kick. Yeah. Let me. How do I kick you out? No, I don't want to kick you out because you might not be able to get back in. Just close it yourself and then go back in on the other computer.
Okay.
Because if I kick you out, they might not let you back in. I don't know. I don't want to do that. Like the luck we have had today is enormous. So yeah, just X out of it and then go in the other computer. The other computer will look good. Oh, good. Triple, thank you for letting us know because he'll be right back. Okay, awesome. Yay, awesome. So that will be fun. So guess what? I'm going to put a commercial. Alrighty, we're back. I just put a commercial on. So,
okay.
You're better to let us know. All right, so we were talking about July and the.
Okay, let's see if. Okay.
I froze.
So, You froze up there a second. Okay. Yeah. So July there is a we got the Neptune retrograde. So two with the planetary stations, that energy is super heavy for a week on either end. So the Neptune station on July 4th, you're going to start feeling the end of June, and it's going to carry over several days past July 4th. And so the Saturn retrograde, which is July 13th, is actually going to, you'll start feeling that, 4 or 5 days anyways beforehand. So there's kind of you're going to be feeling the Saturn and the Neptune energy at the same time. Especially like between the 4th and the 13th, they're going to start bleeding into each other, which is kind of a precursor of the Saturn Neptune conjunction, which is, even though they're going to be closely aligned for pretty much this entire year, that the exact conjunction is at 0 Aries, and that's in spring of 2026.
Right. So, but we're feeling like these ripples, if you will, right? That's what you're kind of saying. So, and that was something I was thinking about yesterday or day before. I don't know. My days get mixed up, but about how when we have those sensitive points, and you and I've talked about this before, like when we had the Pluto Saturn conjunction in 2020, and then we had Mars and we had Jupiter. I don't even know if there was another planet that crossed over that spot and it seemed to ripple out. So these are the like ripples that are happening with the Saturn and Neptune conjunction precursor. Right?
I like to think of them as movie previews, because you're getting a glimpse of what the future is going to bring. And so that's why, like, on the post on my Facebook wall, like, look what was happening at these times, especially like the Pluto in the Aquarius was a good example, because Pluto made 3 dips into Aquarius that went in twice, retrograded back into Capricorn, and now we just went in for good at the late last year. So, but you got glimpses of what was going to be coming in the future. And we're getting that with Saturn and Neptune, because they're both going to move into Aries the middle of this year. And then they're both going to retrograde back into Pisces. And then next year they're going to move, or by the late this year, they're both going to move back into Pisces, when they're retrograde. And then the conjunction is actually going to be at 0 Aries next year. So, but when we get these little dips this year,
did you just call them gifts?
Dips.
Oh, I'm like gifts. They're gifts. Okay, that's an interesting word, but okay. Dips. I got it. Yeah, when we get the little dips, we're feeling the prelude.
You're right. So like Saturn's going to move into Aries May 25th of this year, and it's going to be in Aries until September 1st. And then Neptune is going to move into Aries on March 30th. And then it's going to retrograde back into Pisces on October 22nd. So we're going to get, several months for each of those. We're going to get, the little dips into Aries to see what those planets are going to be like in Aries. But it's going to be, the actual thing is going to be more powerful, because they're not going to be conjunct at any time, exactly conjunct at any time this year. It's going to be next year before they're actually conjunct. But they're traveling very closely.
Yeah, they're so close. So, like, here's my thought about this, right? And it goes along with your preview thing. They're so close that they're like, if you have a planet at 0, any zodiac sign, or, 29 or something like that, they're so close that there's going to be ripples within the midpoints and vibrations with this. So it's like we're still getting it, but the kaboom happens, not kaboom really, because it's not a kaboom type energy, but the really strong part of it does happen. Is there only one conjunction? I can't remember. Of
I
Saturn Pluto,
believe
or is there three?
of Saturn Neptune. I think there's only
Yeah.
one
Saturn Neptune,
because
sorry.
Saturn moves so much faster.
Right, but sometimes it does have three, but you know, I didn't know. It just depends on the it depends on how fast they're moving and such.
Yeah. So the actual conjunction at 0 Aries is in late February of 2026.
Mm.
And we only get the one conjunction because by time Saturn goes retrograde, it's all the way up to 14 Aries. So they don't come very close to rejoin
Right.
again.
Right, I'm just looking at it. I see.
They get back within like 6 degrees, but that's late February of next year.
Right.
I've got static.
Your sun is at 28 Leo, Adriana. My sun is 0 Aquarius. I've been getting like punched like hard by the universe. Like Pluto has been just, and then my rising is right where Uranus is for like 3 months because of the station period. So yeah, that's my sister over here of understanding that critical degree. So okay, this is interesting because I feel as if these preludes are leading up to something. Oh, where did Mark go? Well, here I am. So the preludes are leading up to something that is deeper, something that gives us a opportunity to look at from a perspective of what we're wanting to make tangible, which is the Saturn influence, and the Neptune influence, which is the connection to our spirit selves, our spirit selves, or even you could say your what's the word I'm looking for? Your your ideals, the ideal nature of yourself. So yeah, Mark's PC crashed again. Okay. I will be right back. All right. So we're back. So I was just mentioning how the energy of Neptune and Saturn together, what they really mean, and what these little preludes are giving us energy to.
Okay. Uh, uh, so, uh, so the conjunction of Saturn and Neptune is we're not going to be able to problem solve like we used to. So Saturn is our 3D reality, and Neptune is our spiritual life. Um, and two, to add on to that, just remembering on January 12th, the North Node is going to enter Pisces. So we're going to have the North Node in there conjunct Neptune. So there's already by the time we get into late spring, early summer there, we'll already have had 5 or 6 months with the North Node in Pisces, and it's going to be conjunct Neptune. So we're already going to be kind of aware of some of the effects of the North Node. I mean, so the North Node in Pisces is going to spiritualize things. So that's kind of how that's going to. Boy, this has just been a shambolic mess, hasn't it?
I actually like it. I feel like we're recording a whole bloopers video, just like straight up. Like we're just honestly, it's just bloopers. We're just really screwing around with you guys because none of this is real. You know what? Mercury is on my moon right now, so I think it moves a degree away. But I mean, it's just maybe that's what the problem is because someone did say Mercury earlier, but that's okay. I'll talk.
I think it's the Mars-Pluto opposition is forming a square with my Venus, Mars, and nodes. So I've got like a grand square happening.
Yeah, and I have the Pluto Mars opposition on my midhaven and my sun. So I mean, we're just both getting it. And then that Uranus conjunction, and it's at 23 degrees now, isn't it? It's like living there for a while, I think. Yeah. So that's just when my ascendant is 23 Taurus. So I'm just gonna live in these outer planets. I think we should just do a therapy session.
Yeah.
I'm totally just kidding, but like we'll just for ourselves. Oh my gosh.
Uranus is gonna station on your ascendant there at the end of January.
I'm so excited about that. Like it's so it's awesome. It's been on my ascendant for a minute though. Yeah, I think it's been in this degree for a while. I'm trying to look right now.
Yeah, no, it has been. It has been.
It has been, and I think it also did that before on my ascendant. Oh my gosh, I almost left the chat. I think it did that. It stationed on my ascendant before, like the last time or the time before last. I don't know. It was really kind of a hectic moment. But okay, let's move on to wind up.
Do I need to get my
the rest of our therapy
back
session
out from Halloween?
I think so. I need the kitty cat whiskers.
Oh, yeah, yes.
That was the silliest video, I'm telling you. But you know what? Maybe this is the funniest one, so whatever. You know what? Let's just be comedians.
Yeah.
We're gonna be non-techie comedians. There you go. That's our new podcast.
Here, let's jump to the end of July. There's something. Apparently, there's something about July that's cursed or something.
Oh, Venus enters Cancer. That's it. The Sun enters Leo. Which one is it? Tell me.
An hour. I think it's the Neptune retrograde.
I think it is that's the beginning of July though. Neptune retrograde.
Yeah.
So. And so July 30th, well, July 22nd, I don't think we mentioned this, but we have the Sun entering Leo. So then it's going to be right after that opposing Pluto. I know that's a short transit, and we're not really covering shorter transits in these videos. We're doing an overall. However, I think that's a big one. Pluto moving into Aquarius, the Sun opposing it. So my question to you that I was going to ask in the beginning that just came back to me is, how do you see this playing out in the landscape of our collective in, like politics and so on? Because obviously, at least in the United States, but the United States, everybody's intertwined with everybody, every country. But Canada even, hello, there's so much in my brain right now, and I want to say 5 things at one time. That's really what's going on right now with me. So if I'm doing that, that's why. But how do you see July specifically, because that's what we're talking about, playing out in the bigger world, the bigger stage?
So,
I'm gonna get my blanket and just go
Right.
curl up. Where's my cat? Wait, where's my pillow? I have a pillow. The cats were laying on it somewhere. I don't know. Oh, it's over here. Here, okay. There we go.
Oh,
I think
we
this
go.
is my station. Oh my gosh, I'm so silly. Oh well, could be worse.
Oh my god. Yeah. So what's hard is trying with the. Oh my god, this is January 9th. Just the things that have happened the first 9 days of this year, and trying to look forward, like really, like we don't even know that we're going to make it out of January at this point. I mean, the world is literally on fire at this point.
Literally, and what the worst part of that is, I have friends that are over there, and also property that belongs to me over there. It's insane and very close to the fire. So it's, and I have friends that I mean, it's just there's so many people have lost so much in that. Oh, it's so sad.
It is. It looks like from an apocalyptic movie.
I was thinking I was going to fire you for not being able to predict this already. So I'm just saying.
I
didn't predict the fires in in the friggin' no. But I mean, you did predict mass chaos, though. You said something like that in the last video. I'll have to go back and watch it.
I do believe I said something like that. But yeah,
the beatings will continue until morale
improves.
That's it. Improve morale, everyone. There we go. That's the answer. The real answer.
So yeah, just everything that's going on right now, trying to look 6 months down the road is a conjecture.
It's a challenge. Adriana says, yes, you did. That's right. He did. He said a lot of chaos was going to go on. That one's good. Yeah, I understand. So, okay, let's break it down a little bit, because what has gone on has been crazy. And I'm just curious, what is going on with Canada at the moment? Do you have any idea? Have you seen the news about that? Has that factored into anything about what's going on in the astrology now? Because that's a curious thing to me.
I have. So the weird thing is that North America, I believe, all the countries are cancers.
Oh, is it really? Canada is too?
Canada and Mexico, I think all three. I mean, I know the United States is, but I'm pretty sure that Canada is a Cancer, and I'm pretty sure that Mexico is a Cancer. So, Canada has 2 birth dates, and they are both Cancers. Both birth dates for Canada are Cancers. So Canada and the United States are Cancer. And I'm looking at Mexico, but I'm pretty sure that Mexico is going to be Cancer also. So that's really funny that the Neptune station in July. Oh, so I'm wrong. Mexico is, well, it depends which chart you want to go with. But
where'd you get these dates from? The Sirius program?
So this, no, this is my #1 go-to book for.
Oh, let me look.
Function. It's the Book of World Horoscopes. Is the name on the here? The name's on the front. The Book of World Horoscopes.
Oh, by Nick Campion. Okay.
Yes.
I know who Nick Campion is.
So that's
cool. That's cool.
That's my go-to for.
I like having a
parts
tangible
of
physical
country.
thing in case the world explodes and we don't have technology anymore.
Right,
But
because
well,
I would highly recommend this because he goes into, it's not just charts. He goes into the history of this guy heard, you know, his neighbor's dog talking to him, and that's when they signed the first document of the, Magna Carta of the Aleutian Islands, and like he goes into crazy detail on the ins and outs, and so some of the countries have multiple charts, but you can kind of see the, the flow of things. And I know he does his research because uh,
right.
because I've searched for
You,
stuff.
yeah. Wow. Okay. So Mexico, what the chart I pulled up in Sirius says January, was it 30th or 31st? Is that what you have too? 31st,
I have
2000, 1917.
so he's got three charts for Mexico.
Oh,
That's why, because there's different because the United States is a new country. I mean, we're only
right.
200 and some years old.
80
Some of
something,
these
I think.
countries have
Yeah.
had these
Thousands
different
of years.
dynasties and things that go back hundreds and hundreds or thousands of years.
Right. Right.
So he has January 31st, 1917, but he also has a September 28th, 1821, and a September
September
15th,
28th.
1810. So there he's got a Virgo, a Libra,
1810.
and an Aquarius.
Wait a second. What's the newest one though? Because wouldn't we think about the newest one being the most appropriate? I don't know.
So I would I get into this with the sports teams charts because
Oh yeah.
some sports teams will move. Some
Right.
excessively, and so then you get into this thing of, is it the original chart or is it the new chart?
Right.
Or is it the middle chart or the fourth chart? So that's where you
Right.
kind
Or
of
is it the chart of the game even? Because we looked at those too when we did the sports research. The chart of the game also played a factor in the batting. Well, we did baseball batting, but whatever research.
Right. So
what do you do?
So
How do you
usually-
rectify that? There's like three charts.
so I look at the current trend usually in about 30 seconds. If you look at what's going on in the country, there's something big going on. Usually one of them jumps out quickly.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the newest one. Sometimes it's the oldest one. Sometimes.
Well, it makes sense. Right. And that makes sense to me because, I've had different events in my life, which I, save all the dates for because I'm a nut job like that. Probably most astrologers are. But you learn from that, right? Even personal experience, that means something. So when you understand it better that way. So it makes sense. If you do it for a country, you would look at like any of the available charts could make sense, right? And it just depending on what that chart was, reason for or something. So that's interesting. So why did you mention Mexico? I didn't even know there was something going on in Mexico. Am I not in the loop here? What's going on with?
Well, it's just Canada, United States, and Mexico is North America.
Yeah.
It's those three countries. So I knew the United States and Canada were both Cancers.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to see if Mexico was Cancer also.
Yeah.
Because that station on July 4th, which is United States birthday, is also going to be, hitting in the charts, at least for Canada.
Yeah. Yeah. And, Trudeau resigned.
I saw that. And
and I watched a couple videos and then I was like, I can't do this right now. My brain just couldn't handle it. That they were saying something about Trump wanting to embrace Canada in the United States or something. I don't know if that's true or not. That could be totally false news.
There was
False
there
news,
was a
like my
there
cats.
was a comment made about like Canada and U.S. like joining together as a country or something. But I think I don't really think that's realistic. Um,
Yeah, I don't.
Although, as quickly as things are changing, I mean, Saturn conjunct Neptune could be because Saturn is 3D structures, like
Mm,
uh, like maps, like not like maps, but like the borders between countries and stuff
mm-hmm.
dissolving. So the last Saturn Neptune conjunction was in the early 1990s when the Berlin Wall came down.
Yeah, I
So
remember
that
that. Like I
so that was literally
was live.
a, a physical structure being dissolved.
hmm Yeah.
So so what the United States and Canada joined together as one country, I would highly doubt that. But could there be uh, more interplay beyond, NAFTA and stuff? There could certainly be more interplay between the two countries.
On what? What did you say? On NAFTA? Is that what you said? North American
NAFTA,
something.
North America Free Trade Agreement, that's
Got it. Okay.
allows, supposedly, anyways, for goods to be exchanged easier between United States, Canada, and Mexico, the three North America countries.
Oh, I didn't. I mean, I might have heard of that, but I didn't know the acronym for it. Interesting. So, I
I have
mean,
a I have an export background, so I had to do it.
I mean, you're a Pisces. You're supposed to. I don't
Yeah.
know where the logic is in that, but I'm just gonna go with it. I mean, yeah, I think things are changing so much around the world, and when this new cabinet gets into the position, I think that a lot of things are going to change, whether you like it or not. It's just the shifts are here. That's that Pluto moving into Aquarius energy too. That not just that, but all of the planets lining up to be in the 0 degrees coming in the next year. It's a lot, right?
Yeah, I think we talked about this in the last video, but I don't really remember.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think one of the biggest changes of this year is while the last 4 years have been, chaotic. It's been uh, more of, a boot repeatedly stomping you in the face, whereas now it's going to be the chaos is going to be much more outwards. It's going to be everything happening at once, all of it, especially when we get into, Jupiter's in Gemini now, but we're going to have Uranus in Gemini, um, Pluto's in Aquarius. We're going to have Saturn and Neptune in Aries for a little bit later this year, and then after next spring, they'll all both be in there for 2.5 years or more. I think the we're moving from all the outer planets being in feminine signs to all the outer planets being in masculine signs. So that the chaos level is going to be different. It's not going to be the solid, compacted Pluto and Capricorn with Saturn and Pisces and stuff where all the drama's kind of rolled in. It's going to be everything simultaneously moving 1,000 miles an hour. So really, it's the level of things that could happen are uh, kind of off the charts. So
Yeah. So,
Adriana
Adrian,
wants to know if we're looking at war, and I would say that's that
Not off the table.
July 4th area is very much very much what could come out of that is we could end up, and I would say the events that are going to happen between March 14th and April 29th are going to give us a flavor or at least an idea of what is going to happen around July 4th. Because
With the
I think
eclipses.
those two, yeah, I think those two time periods are kind of tied together.
Hmm. So the eclipses that you're talking about, the lunar eclipse on at 24 Virgo on the 14th, and then the solar eclipse on March 29th at 9 Aries, you think they're tied together to the Neptune going
Yeah.
what?
Well, yeah, and it's not even just those. There's also the Mercury retrograde on March 15th.
Mm-hmm.
The Neptune entering Aries on March 30th.
Yes, exactly. And that's the sensitive
And
spot
then
we were talking about too.
Yeah, and then Mars re-entering Leo on April 18th, and then the Mars-Pluto opposition on April 27th. So
Mm-hmm.
there's this massive formation of planets all at the very late to very early degrees of the water and fire signs. It's like everything's either at the very end of Pisces, Mars at the end of Cancer, and then Mars, Venus, Mercury, Neptune, Saturn, all late Pisces, early Aries. There's going to be some probably chilling configurations in that time period.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean earlier too, it's hard to predict when you have so many moving parts what is going to happen in 6 months. Although I mean I feel like it's interesting, and I'm glad we're doing this like overall for the year because we can look back and see, I thought that was really valuable in 2020 because it's kind of eye-opening to me. Like what we talked about in the end of 2019 about 2020, it was like really interesting because you could look back and see what the things played out the way that like these outer planets are no joke. They have the potential to move mountains literally and figuratively, right? I mean, that's sometimes happens on a literal.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's interesting to me, and I mean, we're collectively shifting, and so being as grounded as you can, obviously, that's always a good idea, but being as grounded as you can through the chaos is definitely a good idea. Wow. So we just finished July, maybe. What about August? August is going to be what? Crazy? Sane, not sane? I don't know. It seems like it might be a little less crazy.
Yeah, I think August is actually one of the calmer periods compared to the previous month.
August 6th, there's Mars in Libra. Yeah, that maybe gives a little bit more. I'm glad Mars is moving out of the Cancer Virgo thing because it needs to. Well, it will be.
Yeah.
I'm glad it'll be.
Yeah, usually by time Mars leaves Virgo, everyone's exhausted. Because Virgo just seems to ramp things up, and then with Mars being in Virgo, it's going to be nonstop. I think people are going to be exhausted by the time we get to August 6th.
Yes, and that'll be good. And then we have the full moon in Aquarius on 17 Aquarius. So that'll be right on my Jupiter. That'll be nice. Maybe it'll be nice. I don't know. But yeah.
That's going to be on my part of fortune also.
Oh, you're part of fortune in my Jupiter. That's interesting. Yeah. And maybe I remember that.
Right. Your Jupiter is on my part of fortune.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. No wonder we're friends. Like
Yeah.
in this collective exterior interior world that we live in. Oh, your Virgo's rising. Adriana, that's funny. I love Virgo people though. I think they have such a beautiful quality that isn't always appreciated. I love Virgos. Okay, and then we move on. Well, the full moon. Do you want to say something about the full moon that happens other than it being on our planets?
Yeah. So it's usually the. Okay, I'm hearing weird beeping noises now. Um, so I think the full moon in Aquarius usually, the full moons in the fixed signs are usually about like standing your ground on something,
Mm,
or,
not
or, or
not.
meeting some kind of object that needs moved.
Mm, something that needs moved. Yes. Oh, Sarah's got Virgo in her too. Okay. Yeah. Um, that makes sense. I always seem to appreciate the moon when it's in the full moon in Aquarius. I've weirdly enough, I have several photographs from actual physical photographs when we used to do that of that moon. I don't know why I just started taking them, and now I've got a bunch of digital ones. But now I intentionally do that. But I started taking them probably in 2000, like 10 or something, maybe 9. I don't know. But for some reason, that moon, maybe because it's in Aquarius, and I have all the Aquarius in my chart. Um, but it's also the peak of the summer, northern hemisphere, so there's something there for it. Then we have on the 22nd, the sun enters Virgo. And then we have on the 22nd of August, Venus enters Leo. Doesn't, yeah, Venus enters Leo. So those are just sign changes. Of course, sign changes mean something. Is there anything you want to share about those two before we
So,
move to September?
so this is one of my crazy thoughts. So like every year, I notice the schools want to move the beginning of the school years up earlier and earlier and earlier. I mean, like that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess this is just a rant more than a sensible statement.
At this point, I think
But
this
like,
is what the whole video is.
yeah.
One big
So,
rant. Thank you for joining.
so the school year should start on August 22nd because the sun is entering Virgo. And that, like,
Oh, that.
when you have school starting when the sun's still in Leo, that's just stupid. because nobody.
Wow. Are they really doing that? Oh, I
Oh,
didn't know
every
that.
year they move it up. They move it up earlier and earlier every year. Like we used to go back to school the very end of August or around Labor Day. Now it's like
Yeah,
mid
it was
early
always Labor
August.
Day.
Yeah, and now it's like mid early August. They're sending kids back to school. It's like nobody wants to go sit in a classroom in the middle of Leo season. That's just stupid.
Mm-mm. You know what they
Sun.
started doing in my area? They started doing year-round school, which I thought was crazy, where they have more times off and breaks throughout the year. But my kids were already out of school when that happened. But I was like, this is. I wouldn't have liked that. I loved
That's
my summers. Like, come on.
yeah. No, that would be
Weird.
annoying. I would not be down with that.
Well, our educational system is also up in the United States, at least, is also up for grabs. I think for shifting and changing in the recent soon to come time. Hopefully, it's pretty broken, so that's probably not a bad idea to have our educational system shifting.
Agreed.
Maybe,
Agreed.
yeah, maybe they'll just start teaching astrology, and life will just be better for everyone. You're like, no,
But
no,
I
certainly.
agree with no. That would be better for everyone, but I
You agree, but no, they're not going to do that. I
they're
know.
not going
Well,
to do that. They're not going to do
Unfortunately, I think honestly, I know some teachers that are, like specifically that teach, and they also, share that with their students. I think the world would be better if we understood it. I really do.
Oh, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. But they're
Yeah. So when we move on to September, September is
okay.
what? What is the word you want to give me for September?
So
I'm scared.
so so September's going to be big. Uh, so there's two retrogrades. So I guess retrograde is going to be the word. So there's two outer planets that retrograde within the first 6 days of September. So I already think of September as like heightened activity and like school starting, football season starting. There's tons of lots of Virgo activity. Uh, so like on September 1st, Saturn. Well, I guess Saturn. Sorry, Saturn does not station on September 1st. It's already stationed, but it re-enters Pisces because Saturn's already retrograded at on July
Yeah,
13th.
Saturn.
It's stationed retrograde, but just now it's dipping back into Pisces. Um, so it's going
That'll
to
be a
enter.
fun time for you because it's on your sun. I mean, Saturn and your sun isn't that
Well,
fun. I was just being sarcastic.
yeah, no, I've got Saturn, the North Node, and Neptune on my sun this year, and a Venus retrograde that goes over my sun. I've got all of those the same year. Uh,
Wow.
I've got all of those going over my sun and my Saturn. I've got them all going over my sun and my Saturn this year. So
Wow. So Saturn is also going over your sun. Yeah, you're getting it from all the angles. Neptune's, oh my gosh, you're getting it from so many different.
yeah,
Wow. Well,
and
I mean,
then
maybe the shifts are going to propel you into something better. I don't know,
uh,
grander.
it's going to propel me into something. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure what that is, but
I
so
have
then
a pie
September.
and a side. I can't help it. I just want everything to be good,
Right.
please. Although I am
Uh,
realistic too, but I really would love life to be just good. I just have to be realistic.
um,
Wow. Okay.
so then Uranus stations retrograde on September 6th, a few days after Mercury has entered Virgo. So that's a lot of chaos. And then September 7th is a full moon, a lunar eclipse at 15 Pisces. So for you, and I meant to mention this before. Um, so the people born in the mid to late 1960s, uh, these eclipses this year and next are going to hit really heavy in your chart. They're going to hit on uh, either your Uranus or your Pluto or both, because these eclipses are going to be in Pisces and Virgo. So the Virgo ones will be hitting on your Uranus or Pluto most likely. Um,
What years were those? 1960 something?
mid,
Six, you said?
mid 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 to late 1960s. All those people should have their Uranus and Pluto's around like 18 to 29 degrees of Virgo.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I'm younger than that, so thank God. No offense.
Yeah, be glad
But
be
I
glad
know
you're gonna
you're
miss
a little
out
bit.
on that one.
Yeah, I'll miss that one. I just get it from different. different things, but I'll get my time. Don't worry. It just won't be the same. Yeah, that Uranus Pluto conjunction in the 60s though, those people tend to have specific challenges, maybe, I guess is the best way to put it, with like that because there's a lot of intensity around those years.
Right. I mean, that was, a lot of societal change.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, I wasn't born, but I forgot. Adriana's like wonderful. Well, we didn't say it was good astrology. We just said it was forecast. Oh, goodness. So then we move on and we have Mercury entering into Libra, which is on the 18th, September 18th, September 19th, Venus enters into Virgo. And then we have another eclipse, a solar eclipse at 29 Virgo. Wow, 29 Virgo. This is like the year of 29 and 0, right? It seems like more than normal.
Yeah. Oh, what 100%? You couldn't really have any more than you're going to have this year.
Right.
I mean,
it's like it's there. It's just there.
And it's not only all the outer planets. There's that eclipse at 29. There's a Venus retrograde that goes over 24 Pisces through early Aries. There's a Mercury retrograde that's at end of Pisces, beginning of Aries. So you've got the inner planets even. And then the Mars retrograde goes over end of Cancer, beginning of Leo. So this is all the retrogrades this year, like all the Mercury retrogrades, start in fire signs, and 3 of the 4
and in water. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go back into water.
Well, yeah, not end, but they go back into water. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, no,
That's intense.
Yeah. As much as everybody, I think, realizes the last 4 years have been chaos, it's going to be on another level this year. So there's going to be plenty of opportunities and stuff, but this year is going to be. You think the last couple of years have moved fast? This year is really gonna. This is really going to move fast this year.
Well, we can't complain about moving fast if things are chaotic, right? It's just hanging on to whatever that keeps you stable. Do you think that I'm sorry, my brain just always goes back to what the political sphere, geopolitics that are going on, right? Because that's just how my brain works. But do you think the administration that will be coming in and that will be current during that time will help things smooth over? I mean, obviously that's always the hope, but or do you think it's going to be more chaos because of that administration?
So I think a lot of the people that 45 and 47 wants to put on his cabinet are probably not going to make it through.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to say a lot of it looks at who he has to settle on to get through there. Just the weird thing that has kind of struck out at me is the number of like Ronald Reagan was one of the big Republicans, the last like 50 years or whatever, and he was an Aquarius. But it's funny because like Mike Johnson, the Republican who's Speaker of the House, he's an Aquarius. Elon Musk is an Aquarius.
Is he really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then
I'm gonna have to look his chart up.
45, 47 is Gemini. So there's a lot
Yeah.
of air sign energy, and we're going to have 2 of the 4 outer planets in air signs here coming up shortly. Well, I mean, Pluto's already there,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
Uranus is going to start moving in and out of Gemini from Taurus. So
Mhm.
it's going to be weird. I think it's going to move really fast. Um, I
Yeah, I was wondering what JD Vance was. I know I looked him up before, but I can't
he,
remember. Guess I don't
he's a
probably don't have him in.
he's a Leo. He's a Leo.
He's a Oh, that's right. He is a Leo. I think he has the same um sun as Trump has rising. I think they're close in
Yeah.
at least
So
close to each other, something like that. Because
J,
I did a whole video on the two of them.
so JD Vance's Sun and Venus are in Trump's 12th house,
Right. Yeah, I remembered
which I
that the sun was there.
which I would say is probably not that good for Trump.
Right. That's what. So I did a whole video before they actually won the election with Christopher Pridham, and we were talking about just the four of them, the four candidates with Biden and Harris too. Not Biden, but Harris and whatever the guy's name was. We were looking at it, and what Christopher said was interesting because he said that it's almost like Vance will outshine Trump a little bit because of that, because what you just said, and I was like, that's interesting. I didn't think about that. I don't know enough about JD Vance really to have an opinion
Well,
of,
yeah,
but we'll figure it out.
I I would say that is a potentially problematic thing for that is uh, it's like Obama. JD Vance kind of came out of nowhere. I mean,
Yeah,
he had the book he wrote and stuff, but really nobody really knows that much about. He's not like somebody who's been a politician for 30 years and we know where he.
where
So
he is on all the things. Yeah.
I'd say that mixed with his Sun and Venus in Trump's 12th house, I think he should. I would be concerned. I would be concerned about that.
Well, thank you for the
And
side
that may
quests here.
tie into the uh, March 14th through April 27th time period.
Interesting. What do you mean by that? You're being cryptic. Your messages are cryptic. What could tie into it? That something with Vance maybe doing something or something changing within him? Is that what you mean? I guess you can be cryptic if you want.
Uh, well, I think on both January 20th and on March 14th through April 27th, I think 45 should have extra security.
I mean, after July last year, he should have extra security and like maybe make it his people instead of just people appointed to that position. Because I don't,
Yes, I would agree.
yeah. I don't want anything to happen to anybody, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah, he should
All right.
have people he trusts in those positions.
I agree. Enough of the cryptic crazies over here. Now we'll speak some form of English. Are we done with September or no? We're not done with September. You tell me. Was there more?
No, we're not done, but we probably need to. I have
Move
to
it
be
on.
done by like 1:40, so I got 38 minutes. So
We got 3 months
yeah,
left. Let's see if we can manage it.
we need to. I think I need to pick up the speed here.
All right,
So
October.
um,
October 6th, Mercury goes into Scorpio. We have a full moon on the 6th as well at 14 Aries. Then we have October 13th, Pluto station direct at 1 Aquarius. Yay. On my midhaven. I'm so excited. October 13th, Venus enters Libra, which is happy there. I like that. And then the 22nd, I'll just name them all. Neptune enters Pisces, retrograde at 29. It's doing retrograde at 29 Pisces. That's fun for you, Mark. And then October 22nd, Sun enters Scorpio, and October 29th, Mercury enters Sag. Now tell me what you're thinking about October.
so, you have to
You're
look
like,
at that. I
I'm
mean,
leaving.
we
Just walk
we
away.
both we both have an outer planet stationing almost exact on our sun
Yes.
within 9 days of each other.
I
How
hope
does
we're
that
here
happen?
in October to actually make it happen. Like to make October videos happen.
That's yeah.
Deep.
So yeah. So
And the weirdest part is well, no, Pluto isn't really related to Aquarius in the, you know, traditional sense, but yeah. Because
so
Neptune is obviously ruler of Pisces. That's where I was going with that.
yeah. Um, yeah. And so the weird thing too is those planets are stationing. They're kind of in a sextile to each other. I mean, it's out of sign, but
Right.
I mean
I
that
mean,
so that Neptune entering Pisces, it's at 29:59. So
mm,
it's almost at zero Aries. So they're
oh.
only like a degree and a half apart.
Yeah, they're still sex high. I mean, even if they're out of sign, I
Yeah,
mean, the signs matter, but
that's
they're not really, yeah.
yeah, degree and a half is pretty close no matter what you're talking about.
Right. Yeah, it is. It really is. Like it's especially when they're outer planets like this that move slow and have the rippling effect that we talk about, which makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I mean, so you're expecting more of the feeling of seeking for
So
something?
so I have to say that to me that is I, at least some sort of large natural disaster. I think is one of the things we get with that because the Pluto stations very frequently line up with like volcanic activity or large earthquakes. Neptune, as we've seen, uh, very often lines up with like tsunamis, tidal waves, things like that. I just think those two stationing. I mean, you got the two further out planet, the most further out planets stationing within 9 days of each other. So those are going to be overlapping. I mean, I think
Mm.
and then that the full moon at 14 Aries. I mean, that's a lot of intensity, and
Mhm.
two just like a couple things at the end of September that we kind of just went over really quick is that solar eclipse at 29 Virgo on September 21st, and then the day after the solar eclipse, uh, which means uh, the moon's gonna be at 29 Virgo. So that's a new moon solar eclipse because it's going to be the sun and the moon conjunct at 29 Virgo, which means the south
Mm-hmm.
node's going to be at 29 Pisces, which means the south node's going to be conjunct Neptune on
Oh,
the September 21st solar eclipse. It's the new moon, sun and moon at 29 Virgo, and south node conjunct Neptune and Saturn. South node conjunct Neptune and Saturn at the end of Pisces. That that's probably that's probably happened sometime in human history, but it hasn't happened many times in human history. As you
I
can
was
go
in a
back a million years if you want, you're not going to find where that's happened very often.
I was in a meeting on Tuesday night, and we're a bunch of astrologers were just doing a meeting, and one of them brought up the last time that Neptune and Saturn were conjunct at 0 degrees Aries was like 4,000 something BC. 0 degrees Aries. So it was like,
That's
and then we talked about the whole pattern of it, and that's amazing. So, yeah, like you're saying, it's like it happens. Some of these things happen in history, but not always at the same, in the same degree or in the, with the same planet. So,
yeah,
a lot of different things happens. I mean, the Saturn and the node themselves, Saturn and nodes, they don't happen, like all that often, but then you're adding in these other planets to it to create this even bigger energy that's there for us to like process and work through.
yeah. My guess is September 21st is a game changer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The eclipses are intense, and like you have said multiple times on our shows, like that they don't always happen that day, but their intense ripples go out over time, which I
Yeah,
agree with. I've seen
that
that.
the, the eclipses open a window, I think,
Yes, that's a good way
of
to put it.
time
They
and
open a window.
things are heightened. And so then you got to look
Yeah.
too. So one day after the solar eclipse, with all those planets involved, then the sun enters Libra and Mars leaves Libra and enters Scorpio.
Mm,
So
yeah.
you've now got Mars in its uh, secondary or old rulership of
Right.
Scorpio,
I mean,
and
I
then
think the old rulers still work, I think you get dual rulers for those signs that have the old and the new. That's my personal view of it. I don't know about you, but yeah.
yeah. So just so Mars and Scorpio definitely ratchets up the intensity. And so then beginning of October, you get Mercury entering Scorpio, and then the Pluto and Neptune stations. So,
Mm, intense.
like, like September here, we'll start September 19th when Venus enters Virgo. That through that, you know, October 22nd, that whole period is super crazy. And then after, and then after that, the sun enters Scorpio too on the day that
Mm-hmm.
Neptune re-enters Pisces. So we're in like deep dreamland at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Well, at least Mercury enters into Sag on the 29th of October. Hopefully that will maybe give us a little bit of not dreamy like, but the Sagittarius is also a little bit of a dreamer, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Okay. For the sake of time, because we'll talk more about this as the months come up, let's go to November. November, I'm going to just read them really quick, and then we can talk about them. November 4th, Mars enters Sag, November 5th, there's a full moon in Taurus at 13 degrees Taurus. Venus enters Scorpio November 6th. November 7th, Uranus enters Taurus retrograde at 29 degrees Taurus. Yay, Uranus is finally moving out of Taurus. Oh, no, it's retrograde. November 9th, Mercury stations retrograde at 7 Sag. November 21st, Sun enters Sagittarius. November 29th, Mercury stations retrograde, last one for the year, yay, at 29 Scorpio. And then on November 30th, Venus enters Sagittarius. So what's your overall for November?
Right. So here we're kind of entering, I think, kind of the last phases of Uranus, which is retrograde, back into Taurus. Neptune, which is retrograde, just went back into Pisces the previous month. Saturn, which I believe at that point is retrograde, is back into Pisces. So we're kind of like, these are kind of the like the finishing touches, like the final exams are getting ready to start for Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, because they're by retrograde, they're back in the signs they've been in for the last few years for like the last time. And so then when each of those station direct, then that'll be like the
following year,
the final exams for the planets in those signs. So I think that's kind of a, and then we've got, the Sun and Mercury and Scorpio there for part of those periods, and Venus. So I think that's going to be a lot of internalization on, figuring out, what's the right play for these energies, what's the right ways to.
With all the Scorpio and Taurus energy with the full moon and stuff in November, do you feel like it will be, because Scorpio likes to uncover, I love Scorpio because it likes to uncover what is hidden, right? So do you think there will be some of that as well going on?
Oh, yeah, I think there always is during Scorpio season.
Yeah, like it's being like you're getting light. Go on, sorry.
I think it doesn't always hit like the mainstream news media, but I think there's always lots of uncovering of things that happen during that period.
Yeah, and sometimes you're getting like a glimmer or a view into it, and then it's like at some point it will become more obvious or whatnot, to everybody, because it just seems like it just starts to open at that point. It's like cracking something, if that makes sense, because the Scorpio digs to the point where it's going to find something. He just has to dig enough to get there, so I feel like that's a Scorpio energy. I was raised by Scorpios, like people with strong Scorpios, so like a pack of Scorpios, like not just one. That's okay. I love Scorpio energy. And I have a Taurus rising, so I can handle it. Yeah, and I mean the Mercury station retrograde too in Scorpio. That's going to be fun. I know that's really not as big of a problem unless you're trying to do a podcast. Right. You might have some problems there, but I mean, that's really not on the grand scheme of life. It's not such a terrible thing. So, did you want to mention anything else for November? Or do you want to move on to December?
No, actually, I was just trying to see. So I was wondering what a group of scorpions is called. It's
my family.
Yeah, it's called either a bed or a nest.
A bed or a nest. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I find interesting little clues with like the group names for animals.
Yeah, I mean it's all connected, right? When you think about it, we're all really connected. Yeah. I thought it was really interesting because somebody brought up in that meeting I was in the other day, they said something about, do you think that the planets are like their orbits or what they are made out of or whatnot, their mythology is related to the, what's going on with them energetically. And then I thought it was really interesting because Hidalgo, which is a planet that's been found to be show up in ADHD charts, because I'm doing that research, but not actually, I haven't gotten far enough with it. I'm still in the process, but Hidalgo is an asteroid, and its tilt is like nothing in alignment with the planets. It doesn't go on the same plane as the planets. I know they're all a little different, but I don't remember the degree of the tilt that orbit itself has, and it's like really elongated elliptical path. So I'm like, that's crazy, and that sounds like ADHD. Because, and I wondered if that was the methodology and the reason why that was chosen to be one of them, or it just showed up, or maybe they're connected. It's possible. I haven't done enough of the research to know that the answer to that. But if you do know someone who has ADHD, you should check out my website and be part of the study. So I'll leave a link to that. So just to mention that as well. But okay, so December is the last month. A whole year away. Let's see if we can figure out what's going on in December for us. December 4th, we have full moon in Gemini at 13 degrees Gemini. December 10th, Neptune stations direct at 29 Pisces, finally. December 11th, Mercury enters Sagittarius. December 15th, Mars enters Capricorn. December 21st, Sun enters Capricorn, and December 24th, Venus enters Capricorn. Wow, that's some Capricorn energy there, if I've seen any. What are you feeling about December next year? Well, this year, sorry.
So I mean, I think. So actually, I mean, that looks fairly calm. You know, comparatively to what we've been through the last few years. I mean, I think we were talking earlier, a few years ago, we had like several years in a row where the Uranus stations were right on or right around Christmas.
Right,
like
we did.
So I think that the Sun, Venus, Mars, all entering Capricorn. I think that's just going to make things feel calm. The Neptune station, that's when we kind of. So that the Neptune stations are always low energy, but that's going to be the last station of Neptune in Pisces, because once we get into because once we get into Neptune or into 2026,
Aries. Mm-hmm.
That's going to be once Neptune enters Aries. Let me set that in. So late January 2026. Wow, that's close. That's going to be the end of Neptune and Pisces. We'll be done with that. This was an exceptionally long. I think this was like 15 years. I think this was we'll have had the little dip in there at the beginning and at the end.
Right.
Retrograded back into the other signs. But that was that'll be the conclusion of a really long Neptune and Pisces transit. So I think that will kind of that's going to be like the last 2 months, like summing up the spiritual lessons of like the last 15 years.
Okay, so we were doing video. Well, we were actually doing blog talk radio, so we were doing audio podcasts at that time when Neptune moved into Pisces, and so we coined this like term that we were like saying for a long time: pink fluffy clouds. That's Neptune in Pisces. So now we need to figure out a Neptune in Aries. And maybe it's not right this moment, but that we'll have to share that. We'll have to think about it and share it on our next video.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I think that's important. The pink fluffy clouds were meaningful and people did talk about them.
Yes. Yeah, so like Neptune entered Pisces the first time the first week of April 2011, which is I think when the Fukushima thing happened.
Yes, it was.
So I remember that happening right like all, within a few days of Neptune entering Pisces.
And
So
did
that's, I
Uranus
mean,
also change signs or go retrograde at that time too? I think something like that happened with Neptune and Uranus.
I kind of think it was.
It might not have
Well,
been Uranus.
you know what? Uranus entered Aries in March.
So it was just before the
And maybe,
Fukushima.
yeah, so it was just a month before.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what, too? Maybe that. Yeah, one of those was almost exact on the Fukushima event, and then the other was
Yeah.
just, just a month off, and it changed signs.
Yeah, I have a friend that's done some research on earthquakes. So I've not looked at it, but I'll be interested to see what that looks like, because earthquakes create tsunamis and all other kinds of craziness in the world.
Oh, yeah, I'd be interested in seeing that because I've looked at that quite a bit also.
Oh, you have? Yeah. Yeah, that'll be cool. Well, I'll connect you with them. Yeah. So, I mean, it's an eventful year. No matter which way you slice it and dice it, it's going to be an eventful year for us. And yeah. I mean, but we wind up with
I've
you've
never
never
had this many planets stationing at or very near my sun. Like in one, like probably most people have never had that many. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's like take good care of yourself because, who knows, you might just evaporate. I don't know.
Yeah, I just get
And
abducted
I've
by
never
a
had
Bigfoot or something, and
feel like I knew he was real.
yeah,
But yeah, and it's so interesting too because I obviously have never had these Pluto and Uranus on my angles like this, and that's probably not
yeah,
something a lot of people experience, in their lifetime. The outer planets on their angles. I feel like complete chaos sometimes, but also feel like it's all on purpose at the same time, which is madness to me. But here we are.
here we are. That sums it up. Here we are.
Here we are.
We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but we can make some good guesses, I think.
We can. All right. Well, Mark, as always, thank you for being my partner in these videos. I love doing our videos. And everyone that's made it this far, thank you for watching. Definitely check us out on our websites. Mark's going to be more, put up together soon. And yeah, if you're looking for a consultation, reach out to Mark or myself. We'll be happy to guide you in how you can navigate through these choppy waters ahead. And we'll see you on the next one, everybody.